Peace and light. Peace and light. Peace and light. Peace and light. Happy New Year. Come on in here, y'all. Great rising. Great rising. Great rising. Come on in. Come on in. Great rising. Peace, peace, peace. Come on in here, y'all. Come on in here. This is the first broadcast of Magic Up TV this year. You know what I'm saying? Welcome back. Welcome back. It ain't a whole lot of theatrics this morning. I just woke up. And for many of you all, you may know that I have my daughters right now, my two beautiful princesses. And it has been truly an eye-awakening experience to be in this circumstance. You know what I'm saying? Peace, queens. Peace. Peace, king. And it has allowed me to be able to see things from a completely different perspective. And I was sitting here last night because the girls had been in the house for a while, and I've been trying to create different avenues of release for them, you know, different avenues for, you know, childhood. I live in a one-bedroom apartment in the city, and though there are parks around, the weather's been inclement. We've had Christmas, all these things. So I've been getting real creative, you know, letting them skate in the hallway, you know, all sorts of things. My oldest daughter is 6, and she has school in the middle of the day. She is registered on the West Coast, so here on the East Coast, it's 12 p.m. until 3 p.m. Now, a lot of you know that during that time of the day, it's a very important time of the day for business, right? You've got business that is trying to wrap up to go to lunch, then you've got business that's trying to wrap up to go home. So for me, it's a very important time of the day. And I had to make a decision, you know what I'm saying? I had to say to myself, okay, Seven, what's most important? Are we going to try to work around these girls, or are we gonna really, you know, do this and focus on them during the day? I know I got moms on here and they like, yeah, welcome to our world. And I get that. And I know there's single fathers who do this all the time. So I shout out to all the single parents, shout out to anyone who are raising children, even in the interim, whether it's you're a month, you're a week, whatever the case. Because as we raise these children, we have to understand something. These kids, we didn't have the worry. We didn't have that which produces so much anxiety. We didn't have to compete against so much as children. As children of the 80s, of children of the 70s, children of the early 90s, we didn't have those worries. Here's why. Number one, let's go to early childhood, right? Early childhood, our parents, when we was 2 and 3 years old, was not walking around on a cell phone. They weren't walking around on a cell phone. They weren't doing live videos while they in the living room trying to play. You know what I'm saying? They were either cleaning up on a Saturday, washing the car, cutting the grass, you know what I'm saying, doing something inside the house. We was watching cartoons to a certain time. It wasn't but so many channels. We were exposed to but so many things. And now we got kids that wake up, and man, listen, my oldest daughter is 6. My youngest daughter is 2. And they got it made up in their mind that daddy should be home playing with them all day. Now, though I said I focus on them throughout the day, now it ain't playing. They get on YouTube and they see these daddies playing with their kids all day. They see them doing this, all of this dumb shit all day long, and they think that that's what life is supposed to be like. They see these kids living in these amazing homes and and riding in mommy and daddy's Ferraris and Bentleys and big body Benzes, and they think that's how life should be. When we grew up, all we saw what was on the block. All the kids that we knew lived exactly how we lived. There was a camaraderie there, and we competed against what we was able to see, and that was right there in the neighborhood. That was right there in the school system. It was a healthy competition. Now, our children are trying to compete with kids that live in different zip codes that circumstances may not present themselves for them to be able to experience that life in this moment. And it produces anxiety for these children. And we got our kids watching this stuff all day long. Then let's move on. Our parents weren't working from sun up to sundown. Our parents were not working 7 days a week. Our parents were not working 6 days a week. Unless you work like for the city or something like that, 9 times out of 10, your parents, if they didn't work for like the city or something like that, or like sanitation or park enforcement or something like that, they wasn't working on the weekends. The people that was working in the stores were kids. They were high school kids. They were not grown people working at the Gap. And if it was only 1 or 2. These adults are competing with jobs of high schoolers. Our high school children are competing with jobs for grown-ass people. It's incredible to watch the social economics and the way that our economy and the way that our lives are being driven right now. It's amazing to see what we feel like we got to compete against on a daily basis. Because of the internet and because of the access of information and jobs, our parents, the now adults, are competing at such a rate that they got to be checking their emails all day. And I'm not outside of this realm. But once the kids came here, once it was just me and them, I had to really start evaluating how I did things. And it's so amazing how people, it's just like church. You ever go to church and the pastor only makes it a problem like drugs, alcohol. They don't never talk about gluttony and shit, right? Because 9 times out of 10 back in the day, the preacher was big as hell. Then they was always talking about coming back for lunch and then coming back for the church dinner and then coming back Wednesday to eat. They was never talking about hoarding. They was never talking about other things outside of drugs, alcohol, and premarital sex. The same way we do. We talk about these things like as if there's only one side of the coin. Yeah, we using these gadgets to get ahead. Yeah, we using technology to get ahead. Yeah, we got to be plugged in from time to time. But we throw our kids a device. Family game nights ain't what they used to be. Kids are putting themselves to bed. And we wonder why we're losing sense of humanity. We wonder why it's so much conflict. Why people are growing up to be so empty. We're removing human contact from family first. You know what I'm saying? We removing human contact from family first. I remember when the girls first came and people was like, Seven, it might take you a while to get acclimated, you know what I'm saying, to the blah 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 blah. The moment they got here, I created a schedule. They get up 8:30, go to bed 8:30. And in between that, I'm trying to give them as much life force as I possibly can. You know what I mean? Just as many of you. But it's what they watching, man. It's what and see, we're like, well, and this is what I was talking about with church, right? We say, watch what they watching here. But most of the times when people are telling you that, they like, don't be listening to rap music. Don't be, oh, you got them listening to WAP. You got them listening to this. You got them listening to that. You know what I'm saying? But you're not evaluating the YouTube channel with these kids on there the same way you trying to judge the music. Because it's both as damaging to a certain degree. These kids need so much attention. They need so much attention. And it, at one point, sometimes I get frustrated, right? Like, damn, they need so much attention. But then I go, well, what else are you doing? Well, I got a client project that need to be done. Okay, well, you could do that tonight. It ain't like you clocking in, bro. It ain't like the client know when you doing this work. But then you taking care of these kids like this all day, and then nighttime come and get ready to do the work. And you be like, shit, I just need a fucking shot of something, a damn glass of wine, a blunt, to sit my ass down somewhere. And then you really don't feel like doing nothing after that. But here's the trick that's happening right now. They forced this life upon many of us, all of us at this point, right? Everybody got put up. Everybody got put in the house. Now, the real challenge is how you manage that energy. I'm online watching my daughter go to school, and I'm experiencing this online learning, and I'm realizing this is not enough. And you have some parents that just don't have it in them to break out the flashcards after they come offline. You got some parents that just don't have it in them to extend that education after school, because they too have to work. And I want you all to understand what's happening with this particular algorithm. If there has ever been a time for the need of village, if there's ever been a time for the need of kingdomship, if there's ever been a time for the need of camaraderie, this is it. I had a friend call me up, my wife said, 7, so-and-so is going to come over and do the girl's hair. All right. And this sister came with a bag full of hair products. And the girls just loved on her, and she sat down and she said, y'all want to get your hair done? We have to learn sometime, like I have girls, you understand? And even though I might be able to do a ponytail, even though I might be able to do some nails, even though I might be able to do these things, they require female exchange. And it's so funny that our people tell us, they be like, you don't want to have too many people around your kids. You watch who you have around your kids. Almost to the point, like, don't have nobody around your kids unless they marriage material. Unless you getting married to them. Let me tell you something. I'm a single fucking man. Yeah, I got a wife, but I'm living in a separated state. I'm living in a separated state. I'm not going to not have a sister come over to help me do their hair because I'm not in a relationship with her, or I can't be in a relationship with her, or whatever the case may be. I'm not gonna let nobody come over and help me with my children, or ask to take them. I'm not gonna hover and helicopter so much that I cannot have a certain amount of freedom to do what I need to be done, to do what I need done as well. Some of us are so, we got such a hold on things that we can't let go so that we could do other things. And we fail at those other things, and now we got to answer to that with our babies. It's such an algorithm. And as a man, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've been married. Like, my children were raised in the house. Like, yes, I've been in relationships where, I was divorced, and, many of you know about my 14-year-old son, and, my challenge with, getting him back. And I finally got him back to where I could have him in my life whenever he wants to see me, whenever I want to see him. And he comes over. And that's another thing. We have these children. See, back in the 80s, back in the 70s, a lot of us didn't have to grow up in different homes. We didn't have to grow up at mommy house, and then we had to go to daddy house, and they got two different ways of lifestyle. And now we got to figure out as kids, are we doing something wrong because I'm eating chicken and daddy not, or mommy don't eat chicken? And you got to understand what we do to these children when we make things such a problem because of the differences in lifestyle between the homes. They feeling like, am I doing something wrong because daddy got this woman around? Am I doing something wrong because mommy got this man around? Or whatever. That's not what the children should be focused on. It's not. It is a need for village. There is a need for mothers. There is a need for fathers. And man, how crazy, man, it is. I grew up, my after 11 in separate homes. So I had the chance. I knew what it was like, even with the dysfunction, to have a mommy and daddy in the same house, and then to be without. And then to hear mommy talking, and to hear daddy talking, and to hear the family talking, and all these things. This is what our children are dealing with on a commonality now. So much so that it's just normal to them now. And now, some of these children don't have the access to their step brothers and half brothers and half sisters. They're growing up outside of the homes of their siblings. Me and my sister grew up together. When my son comes over and he's with his sisters, oh man, they just have a ball. And then the anxiety that happens with these two little girls when that little boy got to go back to his mama's house. I'm like, wow, man, these kids got so much. They got so much. When we was coming up, you know what I'm saying, we had to watch out for the dope boys, you know what I'm saying? We had to watch out for the gangs and things like that. And that presented a reality that our parents didn't necessarily grow up with, but they grew up with a reality that we didn't grow up with the lynchings and the, and the segregation and the integration and all of these things, right? So yeah, each generation has its own thing. But it seems as if even back then, they had each other. The elders knew their place. The young ones knew their place. The men knew their place. The women knew their place. Everyone had a place. Everything had within our culture. Now, we couldn't control the shit that happened outside of our hood. But within our hood, man, we had such a functionality. We had such a functioning government within our own hood. And now we've journeyed out. We've journeyed outside of what's familiar while fighting for the desire to be welcomed in. And our children feel the same when they go to school. We move into these neighborhoods where, we're trying to prove something. We're trying to prove our class. We're trying to prove our monetary worth. We could live here too. Not realizing the ideologies of these people that live in these neighborhoods and what they're teaching their children. Then we send our kids to school and we teach them not to fight. We tell them don't get in trouble. Don't hit them back. For the first time, we're being taught this by bilateral of this non-violent movement. We used to be taught to protect ourselves by any means necessary. Our parents went to bat for us. But now with all these corporate jobs and not wanting to be fired and all the news and all the media and not wanting to be embarrassed, we've taken the fight away from our children. I sent my son to school and I let him know, listen, though we don't start shit, finish it. Use judgment, however, even in that moment. But we don't allow people to treat us any type of way. And there's many schools. You're not going to threaten my child from defending himself or herself by saying they'll get kicked out of your school. We can educate them at home. We can educate them somewhere else. There's private schools. There's all sorts of schools. We want to limit who has devices and who don't because you didn't grow up with a device. You don't want your 11-year-old son, 11-year-old daughter to have a phone because you didn't have one at 11. This world has changed, and we don't want to change with it with certain things. We take their voice away while we don't want our voices taken away. While we stand so tall and firm on social media, we go so hard in on the rhetoric. We go so hard, but we won't give our child a moment to argue their case. It's whatever we say, go. They're watching behavior that's not consistent with what you're teaching them. In this new age world. I grew up watching, my mother work. And she'd come home and she'd go downstairs and she'd be on that computer. When the computer, like I saw the difference once computers was in our home. It was a difference. We start to retreat within. Go to the barbershop. We're not even talking no more. Now everybody's on their phones. We have to be able to give them the tools they need while teaching them the balance that's required. Instead of being afraid to give them those tools because they'll misuse them. There's nothing we can hide from our children at this point, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on. Here we go. Hey, what we doing? What we doing? What? What happened? 7 what? What'd she do? She
said 7 went.
You taking her turn?
There's 3 solas. 2 solas over there. And so I pressed.
Are you taking her turn? Yes or no? Was she taking your turn, Soleil?
Yeah.
She was taking your turn?
Uh-huh.
So which one of you are not telling the truth?
And I mean.
Not you? Because you're 2 years old and don't know how to lie?
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
But that's real
Yeah, you all were given that game to get along, because you couldn't. Hey, wait, Daddy's talking, right? Daddy's talking, right? Daddy's talking, right? You couldn't agree on the TV show, but you both love the bowling game, right? So I'm giving you this so you all can learn how to play together. So no crying, got it? The bowling says your name on it and it her name on it. So it shouldn't be confusion, right? All right. And that's what you were doing. You were trying to help her and she doesn't want your help. Let her excel the way she desires, okay? Thank you. Mm-hmm. All right. That'll be done in a minute. And then I'm coming to play. You see? And that is my point. So, I gotta go play, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta go play. But I wanted to address some things that I see going on, and I think that we really need to kind of hone in and really be a little more responsible with. You know what I'm saying? Me too included. I ain't exempt from it. I'm talking to myself in the camera first. I love y'all. You've been watching Magic Up TV. Life is easy, we make it hard. These children are the most important thing on the planet, man. They're the most important thing. Your job is not more important than them. It's not. But being able to provide is. And though the balance is required, we have to understand, we gotta make what's important important. And the creator in the universe and all these things, they yield to it. They yield to it. The universe don't want your children hungry. We have to put the right energy in the right places to unlock the right things. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's having a rough time right now, but together we're able to create resolve. You know what I'm saying? Together. So I am thankful for my tribe. I am thankful, for the queen who has been here for the last few days, helping with the kids, helping clean and helping cook and do all these things. You know what I'm saying? I am thankful. I'm thankful. I'm thankful. I'm thankful for my children. So Daddy about to go play, man. Peace to man, woman, to child, all things to walk the earth. I love y'all. Love on your kids.